1597 BC, Aaron was born to Amram and his wife, Jochebed. 1595 BC, Yum had collapsed. 1580 BC, the Egyptians invented a new and better calendar. 1573 BC, the death of Eber. 1572 BC, the death of Moses. 1570 BC, the new kingdom of Egypt. 1567 BC, the 18th dynasty of Egypt starts. 1557 BC, Memphis became the largest city. 1556 BC, Scrops the first builds, or rebuilds Athens. 1552 BC, the end of the Second Intermediate Period. 1550 BC, Stonehenge was built. May 14, 1550 BC, Lunar Ceros 35 begins. 1545 BC, Ahmose I died. 1539 BC, the first use of the Valley of the Kings. 1534 BC, the oldest dated star chart was made. 1530 BC, the end of the first dynasty in Babylon. 1525 BC, the Kamite dynasty of Babylon. 1522 BC, Jacob migrates to Egypt. April 24, 1521 BC, Lunar Saros 36 begins. 1517 BC, the Heliacal rising of Sotus. 1512 BC, the flood of Deucalion. 1506 BC, Scrops I died. 1504 BC, the earliest remains of domesticated ferrets. 1500 BC, Polynesians settle in Fiji. 1497 BC, Cranos is deposed after a reign of 10 years by his son-in-law. 1493 BC, Thutmose I died. April 3, 1492 BC, Lunar Saros 37 begins. 1491 BC, Moses led the Hebrews from Egypt. 1487 BC, Amphictyon, son of Deucalion and Pyrrha and legendary king of Athens, died. August 27, 1481 BC, Lunar Saros 43 begins. 1478 BC, the hand mirror is made. 1473 BC, Hatshepsut starts ruling. 1469 BC, Egypt defeats Canaan in the Battle of Megiddo. 1450 BC, Minoan Second Palace period ends. 1449 BC, Fiachulabrain is killed and succeeded by Iochumamu. 1448 BC, the Nti people first appear in Ganabatum during the 32nd year of reign of Thutmose III. 1440 BC, the first recorded urban settlement on, or near Mount Yamanla. 1437 BC, King Eryxthenes III dies after a reign of 50 years, and succeeded by Pandion I. 1420 BC, Crete was conquered by Mycenae, which is the start of the Mycenaean period. April 16, 1409 BC, Lunar Saros 38 begins. 1400 BC, the palace of Minos is destroyed by fire. 1398 BC, the birth of Tiy to Egyptian nobleman, Uya, and his wife, Ju. 1397 BC, Pandion I, king of Athens, died. 1393 BC, Moses was born. 1390 BC, Pharaoh Amenhotep III starts ruling. 1375 BC, Minoan culture ends on Crete. 1370 BC, the site of palace complex is abandoned. 1368 BC, the death of Eryxthenes. 1366 BC, the birth of Princess Dajukipita Tusrata. 1365 BC, the Citadel of Tiryns was built. 1362 BC, The birth of the later pharaoh Amenhotep IV. 1356 BC, Amenhotep IV begins the worship of Aten, changing his name. 1352 BC, Amenhotep III dies and succeeded by Amenhotep IV. 1350 BC, Yin became the new capital of Shang dynasty in China. 1348 BC, Amenhotep IV changes his name to Akhenaten. 1347 BC, King Erechtheus II is killed reportedly by lighting. 1346 BC, Pharaoh Amenhotep IV of Egypt begins constructing Ophir and begins his cult of Aten. 1345 BC, Pharaoh Amenhotep IV renames to Akhenaten. 1342 BC, Pharaoh King Tut is born. 1341 BC, Tutankhamun is later pharaoh. 1340 BC, Citadel walls are built in Mycenae. 1338 BC, Queen Tiy of Egypt. 1337 BC, Queen Nefertiti of Egypt vanishes. 1336 BC, the Amarna period ends. 1334 BC, Smenkhare and Akhenaten died. 1331 BC, Pharaoh Tutankhaten of Egypt renamed to Tutankhamun and abandoned Amarna. 1323 BC, the death of Pharaoh Tutankhamun of Egypt and succeeded by a. 1320 BC, the city of Tangier was built. 1319 BC, Horemheb assumes the throne of Egypt. 1317 BC, Enlil-Nari succeeds his father as king of Assyria. June 24, 1312 BC, Murzili II launches a campaign against the kingdom of Azihayasa. 1307 BC, Adad-Nari I becomes king of Assyria. 1306 BC, Horemheb became pharaoh of Egypt. 1300 BC, people of eastern woodlands begin to build massive earthworks. 1292 BC, the 19th dynasty of Egypt starts. 1290 BC, Seti I became pharaoh of Egypt. 1285 BC, the judgment of Hanefer before Osiris. 1282 BC, Pandion II died after a reign of 25 years. 1280 BC, the walls of Troy are constructed. 1279 BC, Pharaoh Seti I died. May 31, 1279 BC, Ramesses II became pharaoh of Egypt. 1278 BC, Ramesses II defeats the Shahdanasi pirates. 1274 BC, the Battle of Kadesh ends, signing of the treaty. The Treaty of Kadesh. 1272 BC, the first record of hurling plays in Ireland. 1263 BC, Ramses II and Hattusilis III signs the earliest peace treaty. 1259 BC, Ramesses II makes peace agreement. 1258 BC, the Exodus as depicted in the Bible. September 7, 1251 BC, and solar eclipse marks the birth of Heracles at Thebes. 1250 BC, Papyrus of Ani was created. 1249 BC, the Philistines expand their influence into Cyprus and Canaan. 1240 BC, the wimble and lathe are invented. 1231 BC, King Telephus of Mysia is born. 1230 BC, the Battle of Nihriya. 1225 BC, the birth of Helen of Troy. 1221 BC, Pharaoh Memeptah defeats the Libyan invasion. 1213 BC, Ramesses II died. 1212 BC, the death of Pharaoh Ramesses the Great.